Peace. So today is December the 31st, 2020. making today's math, understanding, knowledge. 3 and 1 is 4, or culture and freedom. Excuse me. So what today's math is telling us, again, I believe, not even believe, I can attest that order or sequence matters. Even though 13 and 31 are the same characters, it's totally different takeaways, different interpretations based on orientation. So normally the way I look at it is, when you learn the numbers, or numbers in general, if you count it, they're typically ascending. Normally for countdowns, there's some sort of explosion when you hit 0, whether that be the ball dropping and explosion of lights, or a rocket taking off and an explosion of exhaust. But the point is, when they count upward, that is ascending, and when they count downward, that is descending. So the descent, the coming away from the higher self. So in the understanding, really you can't have understanding before knowledge, obviously, which is why when it is 31 and the understanding comes before the knowledge, that is a misunderstanding. And it's basically saying that when you misunderstand the knowledge, or when you don't have love in the foundation, your way of life will be off. It will not be aligned with truth, because of course you don't know the truth, or you don't understand the truth, even if you may know it. And to illustrate this, I'm going to take it to the 1 to 40, the 31st degree. Says, to make the devil, what must one first do? Or what must you do first? And the answer is, to make the devil, one must begin grafting the original. And it actually says grafting from the original. So me myself looked up the dictionary definition of grafting, which there's 3 definitions, and each one can be used as a noun or a verb. I will add those to the side of this video. But the first one basically says, like, implants, or in a medical field, implants to basically take when a tree branch falls off, or when not a stem, I mean, yeah, no, not a stem, but when one of the branches fall off, to put the branch excuse me, to cut a slit in the trunk or the stem, and to stick it back in there so that way it still can suck up the nutrients. like a pseudo arm, or not like a splint. Yeah, like a transplant, where you may lose your hand or finger. So what they do is they reattach it. But the way they reattach it is in a way that it's not just physically touching, but the inner workings of it are still working. It's still getting blood, it's still getting oxygen, it's still getting all of this stuff. The second definition is to obtain gains, like monetary gains, in a corrupt way, which is pretty ironic. And the third definition is to work hard, or hard work is what the noun is, and then the verb will be work hard, which is, you'll see when I post it. Obviously, I feel like all three of these can be used to illustrate the point of what the lesson is saying. But I believe, or I can attest, that the first definition is the one that is probably the most aligned with what was meant. Meaning, my first understanding, again, the misunderstanding coming before the real knowledge, or the misunderstanding of the knowledge, where I did the knowledge and knew that who the original man was and how the devil was made, but I didn't have a true understanding of what grafting even was, because what I thought it was to start with the original and start stripping stuff away to be left with the devil, which is not what grafting is. To graft is to transplant, or to attach, or to insert things that wouldn't naturally or appropriately fit there. So again, the 31st degree was to make the devil, what must one first do? And the answer again was, to make the devil, one must begin grafting from the original, or from original. And that seems, like I say, like something that's being stripped away, like you're stripped of your knowledge of self, or you're stripped of, but you can't really take knowledge away. It's always in you. What you can do is put in false knowledge that is so prevalent, that is so overbearingly in your face. This is what it is, and don't question it, because your great-grandparents got it this way, and then your grandparents got it this way, and by the time it got to your mom, she wasn't even questioning it. So you got it this way and got in trouble if you tried to question it, because in her mind that's disrespectful, because after so many generations of getting it this way and never questioning it, now you are being disrespectful. Kids these days just don't, all that good stuff. But the thing is, that is letting us know, again, there is positive and negative in everything. So by stripping you away, not even stripping you away, but by burying the truth beneath layers and layers of falsehoods, one can be stripped away from their own essence. This is the same as we say, looking at it like a dog even, right? So a pit bull, I got a pit. And they have a reputation for being aggressive breed, blah, 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 blah. But anybody who knows anything about dogs, or especially pits, excuse me, will tell you that they are the sweetest, most loving, most overprotective, most timid even kind of dogs that are really like scared, unless you graft that original. You take this pure puppy, and from birth you are instilling violence and fear and anger and even taking them to fight, or whatever people do for dogs. I'm sure they do, clip ears and clip tails and all of that. And now you're looking at this devil dog, this hellhound, and you are like, what happened here? As far as an outsider, of course, not the person who made the devil. They knew what they may not have known, like understood what they were doing when that same devil turned around and bit their newborn, or finally turned on them and attacked. And now in the news, family pet attacks. Yeah, but what are y'all doing to this dog every day? What are you grafting? Which is funny because just phonically, grafting sounds like a graft. Like grafting is G-R-A-F-T, and then graph is G-R-A-P-H. Which phonically is only the T sound at the end, which you barely hear. That is the difference, graft and graph. But to graph is to draw up, normally to measure, to face the value, which is what we do. You don't take anything on face value. You face the value. You use the truth as your ruler, love as your ruler, because love, L is the 12th letter. That's love. It's 12 inches on a ruler. Not coincidence. 12 zodiac, 12 hours on the clock. We use love as the ruler, this truth, this love as the ruler, to measure reality and put everything in its place and see everything for what it is, not what it appears to be. But the problem is, some people are graphing and some people are grafting and don't even know it, because we've been grafted. There are many things. It's like the most common phrase this year has been normalize this or unlearn. The thing I had to unlearn was, you can't really unlearn though. That is the whole thing. You just learn better. You don't unlearn the bad thing, because if you unlearn it, then you might make a mistake and do it again not knowing. So you can't really unlearn. You don't unlearn how to you don't unlearn how to ride a bike. You may forget, which is the goal sometimes. Sometimes the forgetting is the point. That is it right there. To not only forget, but to graft again in positive. If you are gonna attach something that shouldn't be there, it should at least be for the benefit of whatever is there. But peace, understanding, knowledge of self, culture, freedom to all who choose to build. Y'all have a good one.